Mr. Wilson claims that Ms. Butler was intimate with several men around each pregnancy she had for him, and he believes that her 2 youngest kids do not belong to him. Ms. Butler is angry that Mr. Wilson would even suggest something like that. Here is how that story starts out.
You claim Ms. Butler had sexual encounters with other men around each pregnancy, and you are certain you did not father either child. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that is exactly how paternity doubts begin. When people believe that their partners are cheating on them, that creates real paternity doubt. And that doubt in turn becomes something really serious, like it has become here, and it gets worse.
Significant age difference between you, Mr.
Yeah.
Wilson, and Ms. Butler. You are 48, she is 25.
Yes.
Are you sure this is not a situation where you may feel like Ms. Butler is out there doing her thing when really she's not because of this age difference?
No.
You may disagree with Mr. Wilson, but he is generally correct. Age indeed do not make you well, you know the rest. So let us go back and understand exactly what is happening here. Why does Mr. Wilson think the first kid isn't his?
Taking some lunch, and I seen her get out of another guy's car. And I got a cell phone, and I seen that she'd been in a whole nother relationship with this other guy, a light-skinned guy by her skin color.
It wasn't a relationship.
And well, I mean, what?
Okay, wait. So I want to understand this.
Wow, that is a bit much. So Ms. Butler can't deny that she was in this relationship with this other guy when Zoriaya was conceived. That is the makings of a perfectly valid paternity doubt, right? And of course it gets worse.
Didn't want us to be together because of age difference.
Okay.
You know, I understand that, you know. She sending naked pictures of other guys. The same picture she sent me.
So you went through her phone and you saw the same picture she'd send you.
Yes,
the
the other
sexy
guy.
picture she sent him to somebody else.
Yeah.
You can see that she tried to lie, but just couldn't go through with it. And that is probable because even that lie would never be believable. She was quadruple dipping all right, and it is about to get worse.
Calling the other guy daddy, I miss you, and I want to eat your candy cane. And I remember everything.
He going to, no, I don't know.
Yes, I remember everything, ma'am.
Oh, a candy cane.
Candy cane.
Okay, now we are getting somewhere. She admits she was cheating and she says she did try to sleep with the dude. But what does that even mean? How can you try to sleep with someone? You either did or you didn't. There is no try. But Ms. Butler has her own way of defining these things, as you will soon find out.
And we try to use the little condom, but we stopped and it didn't happen. Like he never or anything.
So I always, in my back of my mind, I knew the baby wasn't mine.
But
I thought it was so many different men.
And so what do you say? Do you remember that day, Ms. Butler?
Yes, I said the baby is definitely his.
Yeah, that is kind of hard to believe, Ms. Butler. That is very hard to believe. You were not messing with anyone? Haha, fat chance. If she really knew he was the father, she would let him know about her delivery date, right? Well, let's see if she did.
Wait a minute, you went to the hospital, you were in a relationship and you went to the hospital and had the baby without even letting them know?
Didn't let me know. The other guy must have been there.
Like I said, I didn't have my phone.
You didn't have your phone. There was no one there with you with a phone?
Ms. Butler has no legs to stand on here. What is she even doing? How does this make any sense? You'd think that would be the last of it, but you would be wrong. Judge Lake tries to do one last check to confirm from Ms. Butler, but she is sure that the baby belongs to Mr. Wilson.
Mr. Wilson is not Zoria's biological father. Do you know who is?
No, but the
No.
kids is his though. I'm not thinking that.
You wouldn't have
the
a clue.
kids is his, so there's no other possible
Wouldn't have a
father.
clue.
Well, there we have it. Ms. Butler is more than certain she isn't lying and that the kids actually belong to Mr. Wilson. The only way to figure out if she's lying or not is to check out the results for ourselves.
Mr. Wilson, you are not the father.
Told you.
Or not?
Yeah, she said it. I'm not the daddy.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
That's not crazy.
Zoriah?
Yeah, she's not my baby.
Mr. Haggerty believes that he is the father of his 29-year-old daughter, Ms. Wandick. His daughter, on the other hand, believes that he isn't her father. Mr. Haggerty thinks she only believes this because of lies from her mother, and he is here to set the record straight. Let's begin.
Wandick, you say you are stuck between your parents, and after believing the plaintiff was your father, you now are confused by your mother's new claims. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Ms. Davis, you admit to lying to Mr. Haggerty and your daughter, but say today you are ready to tell the truth and prove that he is not her father.
Yes, ma'am.
29 years of living a lie. Try to take that in. No, you cannot. It doesn't even make any sense. Why would she lie for 29 years about something like this? Why? Let's see what she has to say.
He's not. He was just a playmate, Your Honor. I mean, but I know who the biological father is.
Excuse me, Your Honor. She's
Yeah.
saying that he was just a playmate, but how is that fair to this man and to me for her to be saying that he's just a playmate when from jump you led this man to believe that he was my father?
Ms. Wandick is completely correct here. And what is so annoying is the glee that Ms. Davis is reporting this with. Why is she so happy? She isn't even showing any sign of remorse. This man has lived a lie for 29 years and you are calling him just a playmate? Really? Here is what Ms. Davis's sister has to say about this.
Called me. She said me and Craig just got through doing, and she said I'm pregnant. And she told me and our family that Craig was Marzella's father.
And this other man had a relationship, like he was calling me, he was checking on the kids, and when he showed me this picture of his mom, that's when I was like, okay, I look just like his mother, so.
Oh, that is bad for Mr. Haggerty's K. If this other man has a mother who looks just like Ms. Wandick, then it probably means that he could be her father. But we don't have to jump to conclusions. Let us learn more.
Did you have any idea about this other man?
No, I haven't. No, I didn't.
When did you find out about this?
I found about this today.
Today?
Today, right now.
This court informed you that there was another man that could be your daughter's biological father.
Yes.
This is so sad. The worst part is that all of this confusion could have been avoided with a bit more honesty. If only Ms. Davis had been honest with everyone, it would probably have never had to come to this. So what does Ms. Davis think? The other man was at the hospital, and yet Ms. Davis continued the lie? This is incredible stuff. Why did she keep up with the lie when the other man was willing to take care of Ms. Wandick? Why? Well, Ms. Davis explains why.
The thing about it back then is I had a boyfriend and he had a girlfriend.
So now, was your boyfriend the gentleman that came to Miss Wandick, your daughter, crying?
Yes.
So she did all of this just because she wanted to have a baby by Mr. Haggerty? Really? That is psychotic. But if she could tell such a huge lie, why can't she not just take it to the grave? Why now? Anyway, let's hear from Mr. Haggerty's daughter.
Explain it to you, Your Honor, because I wanted a baby by Mr. Haggerty so bad. So bad I had 4 miscarriages by him.
So you lie?
I put Nicole on him, but I know who the father is.
This is so touching, and the fact that Ms. Davis is the sole reason why this family is going through so much pain is sad. She says her motive for lying was because she wanted to have a baby by Mr. Haggerty. So what is her motive for telling the truth now? Mrs. Wandick has an interesting theory.
So do you believe Miss Wandick is your sister?
Of course I do. She looks like my dad. She looks more like my dad than I do. That's all I've ever known. Like when we were young, we dressed alike. She was with us for a while, so yes, I believe that's my sister.
Ms. Wandick, the victim, says it is because of money. Ms. Davis, the liar, says it is about her felling of guilt. How can we ever know who is telling the truth? Both of them are equally reliable, right? Anyway, here is what the DNA test results has to say about this saga.
Mr. Haggerty, you are not the father. Miss Wandick, are you okay, honey?
Something that could have been settled 29 years ago.
Mr. Long and Mrs. Brown want to know for sure if their late son genuinely fathered Ms. Chmielinski's son, or Ms. Chmielinski just wants to fool them and get some grandchild benefits from them. Ms. Chmielinski says that is not the case.
Ms. Chmielinski, you say you had a loving 5-year relationship with the defendant's son, Georgie, who unfortunately died in a motorcycle accident. You claim the defendants initially accepted your son, Xavier, but now need proof that they are Xavier's grandparents. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
It's heartbreaking to hear that their son lost his life in such a tragic accident. However, Ms. Chmielinski says these grandparents had accepted their supposed grandchild at first, but they are now changing their minds. Hence, the reason they are all on paternity is to find out what the truth really is.
So, Ms. Chmielinski, what is riding on today's results for you and your son?
My son needs his family. He calls her Nana, and she's been in his life. We need answers. He has nobody.
Okay, let's keep it real, please.
Oh, Miss Chmielinski hasn't even gotten many words out, and Mrs. Brown is already telling her to keep it real. It seems like Mrs. Brown doesn't want Miss Chmielinski playing any victim card in Judge Lake's court. Well, that's allowed, but the result of the DNA is what will make us know if the baby can keep calling Grandma Brown Nana.
To the day you found out Georgie passed.
I was devastated, heartbroken, confused.
But why? I just making me understand one thing. Why didn't I know about you?
How did you find out
And
he
was him
passed
having a
away?
girlfriend? He had a girlfriend. I know his
Yeah,
girlfriend.
no matter who we were with.
Half of a decade and no one in the family knew? Okay, that's fine, but Ms. Chmielinski is really playing the victim card really well, but Mrs. Brown won't let it stick. But then again, how come no one knew about Ms. Chmielinski even if it was a sexual friendship kind of arrangement? Ms. Chmielinski even said they always had partners and still kept their sexual relationship in check.
Who told you he passed away?
My sister, I just kept calling his phone and he wasn't answering.
Now, at that point that you found out that he passed, did you call his parents or you felt like you didn't know
I didn't
them?
have their number.
I don't know her. I didn't know her.
Because basically, we found out when he actually sent me a picture.
So Ms. Chmielinski wasn't even the one that reached out. That's fishy. Looks like Mrs. Brown needs some tissues seeing her go through this emotional moment. Mr. Long tries to finish up for Mrs. Brown, and we get the past where their late son had hinted his father about the baby.
Says that this baby's Georgie's. 2 years passed. The only reason why I pursued this test is because a friend of Georgie's, very close friend, told him, listen, you need to find out.
You're so upset, Miss Chmielinski.
Because it hurts.
Because you feel like they don't
Because you want
know?
it to be George. She wants it to be Georgie.
Grandma Brown doesn't want to look at the baby and see what's not there, and that's a valid point, but Ms. Chmielinski won't stop talking about resemblance. Sometimes the resemblance thing don't do the work, ma'am. So why is Ms. Chmielinski pissed? Ms. Chmielinski answers that she's hurt. Sorry about that, ma'am, but what should Ms. Brown do then? Faint in court?
Xavier when Georgie died.
He was 2 weeks before he turned 1.
Okay. Did Georgie accept Xavier? Did they have a relationship?
At this point, Mrs. Brown has taken over from Judge Lake as she keeps throwing the necessary questions the judge would have asked at Ms. Chmielinski. The judge doesn't even have a problem with that, but we are now at a crossroad because even Ms. Chmielinski doesn't know if the baby really belongs to the late Georgie. That's shocking, but at least she's honest.
Cute a test to get the answer.
Right.
Unfortunately, due to his untimely death and the fact that the specimen had expired, you were unable to complete that test.
Right.
A family member of mine had contacted his family. They did not respond until Xavier turned 2, and they said if I come up with the money, then they'll do the test.
Oh, now that's sad. The supposed 2 potential fathers have passed away? That's a tough luck, Ms. Chmielinski. Mrs. Brown is pissed enough there's another person in the picture, but even the other person had suffered a worse fate than her own son. Another thing, both families want to know if their sons really fathered Xavier. Whew.
That's the problem.
That he watches his videos and I say, you know, that's daddy.
And he points to the videos and says, Daddy.
He calls him daddy.
Because either way, Georgie told me no matter what the results were when he was alive, that he was gonna be in his life.
Georgie couldn't even take care of himself. Mrs. Brown went straight for the hit with that one, but we should deviate from the point. All she was trying to say was that late, Georgie couldn't handle himself well enough not to mention a baby, and Ms. Chmielinski agrees to that fact too. That makes it true. Let's get to the result to settle this once and for all.
The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Brown and Mr. Long and Xavier Chmielinski is 0%.
A happy home got broken due to the doubt concerning the paternity of the child in the family. Ms. Bido says she's certain Mr. Bolton is her baby's biological father, while Mr. Bolton says he has his doubts about the baby.
You say you were furious when the defendant asked you for a DNA test on your 7-month-old daughter, Ileana. Now you claim that request has broken up your happy home. Mr. Bolton, you state you have reason to believe Ms. Bido's child may not be your biological daughter.
Mr. Bolton claims he has grown to love the baby as his own, but he still needs to find out if he isn't getting attached to another man's baby while thinking she's his own baby. That's fine, but Ms. Bido is standing her ground that the baby belongs to her man.
Mr. Bolton, this is not your first time in this courtroom. Here's what happened previous. So how convinced are you now that Mr. Bolton is?
I'm very convinced because I only slept with 3 men at that time.
If he is my I would step forth and do 100.
Oh, really? Mr. Bolton has been on paternity court before and the child wasn't even his. Okay, we understand the reason he needs to verify again. Ms. Bido's baby may belong to Mr. Bolton, but he needs to find out for sure about that before getting too involved again.
See, Your Honor, here's the thing. When the baby was born, cut the umbilical cord, the doctors wiped the baby off, and they gave Ms. Bido the baby at first. She was still fatigued from delivering birth.
Understandably.
So they gave me the baby. The doctor that gave the procedure to deliver the baby, he handed me the baby and he looked at me.
A doctor said that? Whew! While the doctor may have uttered an unprofessional statement, y'all can bet that must have given Mr. Bolton more reason to doubt the paternity of the baby. Anyone would. But then again, that doctor was in no position to say such a thing.
Let me just say this. We are, that was stupid. We're mixed. I'm Dominican and black. He's Puerto Rican and black. People in my family have different color eyes. My eyes are hazel. My father's eyes are green. He told me that when he was a young boy, when he was a baby, as a matter of fact, his eyes were blue and then they turned green.
Puerto Rican and black, Dominican and black. That's different shades of skins right there, but the white being the dominant skin is what is causing the problem. Also, friends and family coming to visit and having side talks with Mr. Bolton is a thing. However, Mr. Bolton says he knew he had a loyal and loving woman. So what to do now?
Maybe 2 weeks when Eliana came home, the same boss that we worked for, we both worked for him, he came to the house and brought a stroller to the home as a gift. And he's from Alabama, he's country guy, But he looked at the baby, and he's like, Rico, is this baby yours?
Oh yeah, that's a lot of reasons to have doubts, to be honest. Everyone had something to say. You can't blame Mr. Bolton for thinking something might be wrong somewhere, especially since he has even been a victim of paternity fraud not only once but thrice. We can't conclude Ms. Bido stepped out, but Mr. Bolton is human, and it's just normal he thinks there may be another man in the picture.
So, Ms. Bido, you tell me you're a faithful, loyal woman, and I have no reason at this point not to believe you. He hasn't presented any testimony that would say otherwise. However, I have to ask you, during the last couple years, how old is Ileana? She's 7 months. Last year and a half or so, have you slept with anybody else?
Mr. Bolton cheated, so Ms. Bido accusing him wouldn't be in vain. That's ridiculous, but okay. Ms. Bido says she also did her own thing, but she did it the right way. It's not commendable, but it's fair enough because that's a better option than Mr. Bolton's own.
Mr. Bolton, you believe that this man could be the father.
Yeah, when she came back together, we got together, we moved back in the same house together. But in the midst of this, she's still going out there to her family's house, doing their hair, coming back home, and guess what? Middle of the night.
Do babies look alike? There are two answers to that question. Anyway, Mr. Bolton's doubts are valid and Ms. Bido's argument is also solid. These two are within their rights, but there's a baby in the picture. And that's always the problem. These adults can do whatever, but the babies? They are innocent.
The only thing I see is a nose.
If he felt like that, Your Honor, why stay for 7 months? Why even take care of her? Why sign the birth certificate?
Your Honor.
Why is it that every time I call you, you run to her? If you felt like that, you should have been said that. You don't
Your
wait
Honor.
7 months later and then tell somebody, like, we're supposed to get married and everything.
Ms. Bido is getting emotional and angry in the same breath, and the reason is obvious. These two people seem to be in love, but they need to get the doubt out of the way first. So let's find out.
Mr. Bolton, you are her father.
Que yo dice, but what I tell you? Look for me.
Everything speaks for itself because that's what you told me. Actions. Lola Bido.
Ms. Reeves is on the stand to prove Mr. Silva indeed fathered her 7-month-old son, but Mr. Silva, on the other hand, thinks Ms. Reeves is just trying to play a fast one on him to make him accept the baby that isn't his own child.
Ms. Reeves, you are here today to prove that the defendant, Mr. Silva, is the biological father of your 7-month-old son, Legend. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Silva, you were involved in a paternity case on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta in support of your sister, who took a DNA test to prove paternity.
Okay, Mr. Silva has had a first-hand experience from his own family member, so that double-checks his doubt of not wanting to trust the woman he laid with. However, Ms. Reeves stands with her claim that Mr. Silva is her baby daddy. Now let's dig.
Ms. Reeves, explain to the court how this paternity doubt has affected your relationship.
Well, it's affected everything in my life. We've been on and off for about 3 years. Right now, every single time I turn around, it's always, oh, are you sure that he's my baby? Are you sure that he's my baby? Yes, I'm 100% sure. Like, why do you keep asking me?
Ms. Reeves says she and Mr. Silva have been having an on and off relationship for about 3 years. That's not a one-night stand kind of thing or even a short-lived relationship. We really need to know what brought about Mr. Silva's doubt concerning the paternity of the baby.
Silva, why do you have doubt?
I just don't trust her, Your Honor. I feel like she's tricking me into believing that I'm Legend's father. I grew up loving women, loving sex.
You grew up loving sex?
To me, I always felt like it was okay for men to go out.
Wait, what? Did Mr. Silva just say it's okay for men to go out and cheat and come back home to their women? Now there's the question of who exactly raised Mr. Silva, because that is completely absurd. In fact, Mr. Silva is one bold man to utter such words and not even feel any type of way. Anyway.
All of this started because all he wanted to do was cheat on me. I've been nothing but faithful to him since I first met him.
And so you believe he's projecting his unfaithfulness onto you?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you doing that, Mr. Silva? Do you have any reason to believe Ms. Reeves has not been faithful? You basically said...
Now that's laughable because Mr. Silva got everyone in Judge Lake's court laughing out loud. And just like the judge said, Mr. Silva really thinks we are still in the 1800s with his overruling and conqueror speech. Slow down, Tiger. This is the 21st century and things are quite done differently these days, Mr. Silva.
You're here to conquer. Why can't you conquer your doubt and conquer your fear that she's also doing something that she says she's not doing?
Well, Your Honor, I feel like if I'm out here, doing what I'm doing, and she's out, doing whatever she's doing, she's possibly doing the same thing.
Exactly. Why should that be a problem to Mr. Silva when it's a supposed two-way street? If Mr. Silva can do it, so can Ma Reeves, but Mr. Silva thinks that's not appropriate. So he's here to know if his woman has been conquering as much as him, and maybe it led to baby Legend.
You find out you're pregnant, Ms. Reeves?
Well, we was broken up at the time.
Your Honor, we were broken up for 4 weeks, Your Honor. So when she finally got out the bathroom, I was like, so you're texting your ex and you changed your password. What you gotta hide? And that's exactly...
But my whole thing is like, why do you keep asking me what I have to hide when every single time I turn around it's another female?
Mr. Silva isn't supposed to be bothered since the cheating goes both ways. However, there's Ms. Reeves' ex in the situation, and there's also a baby involved. That makes the situation different. We need to know if baby Legend is Mr. Silva's son, or there's another potential father, which may be Miss Reeves' ex.
How long were you broken up before she told you she was pregnant?
Was broken up for about 3-4 weeks, a month.
But it also was while you were texting your ex.
But he never saw anything in my phone like, oh, let's hang out, oh, let's chill. It was always like, hey, how are you doing? Just checking in on you, just checking up.
On daily basis.
Mr. Silva's doubts are valid, but Miss Reeves' claim about the window of conception gives a different perspective. While Mr. Silva believes in conquering and all of that, he went soft and signed the birth certificate. And that puts the story in another bind.
Is 7 months old.
And I've been there.
Since day one?
Since day one. I got him clothes, everything he needed. I take care of him. I let him meet my family. I just needed this DNA test. That's the only way we could work on our relationship. That's the only way that I could continue loving my son and loving her, because I do love her, Your Honor.
Mr. Silva may be having doubts, but he has been a good father through and through. But the man still wants to know if his blood runs through that baby or not. So now we need to get the result and free this man of his doubt.
Mr. Silva, you are the father. You are the father.
That's all I needed to know, Your Honor. I'm sorry, and I did have my doubt with Legend, but I know that he's my son.
Ms. Billingsley is in Judge Lake's court to prove to Mr. Broadnax that he's the father of her baby, and he's in debt immediately. Judge Lake reads out the result that he's the father, while Mr. Broadnax will go to the ends of the line to prove he can't be the father of the baby because of Ms. Billingsley's behavior.
Billingsley, you claim you alone have shouldered the burden of more than $10,000 in child care expenses, all because the defendant denies paternity of your daughter and refuses to help support her.
Yes, Your Honor.
$10,000 is a lot, and even half of it is still a lot. But Ms. Billingsley doesn't care because Mr. Broadnax has to pay that money if the baby belongs to him. Mr. Broadnax is not scared because he believes the baby isn't his. Okay.
Please explain your lawsuit.
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor. So my daughter is now 21 months, and I have been taking care of her since day one. For example, for her first birthday, me and Mr. Broadnax had decided that we were going to do her birthday party, and I had decided that we were going to...
So Mr. Broadnax went MIA after assuring Ms. Billingsley they were going to make the birthday a memorable one for Bailey. Ms. Billingsley is on the stand and getting emotional. That's normal, but it seems Mr. Broadnax has something to say.
To go
You should
ahead.
tell her what I have done, Your Honor.
What he has done for me, Your Honor, is
I'm not
the
going to
beginning
take care
of
of
my
a child that might not be
my
mine,
first
Your Honor.
trimester was
I'm not
very
a deadbeat.
difficult.
I bought her a house. When she told me that she was pregnant, I had got her a house. I got her a car,
He
everything.
did, and that was the hardest thing for me.
Bought her a house? Isn't that more than the $5,000 Ms. Billingsley is asking for? And Mr. Broadnax also did all of that during Mr. Billingsley's pregnancy. That's beautiful. But Ms. Billingsley is crying like she's been going through the worst. It's sad that the pregnancy wasn't stress-free, but hello, ma'am, you still had it good. Like what exactly?
We planned this baby. She was planned. When it came down to,
Your Honor,
when it
she
came down,
skipped town with
I did.
my baby, supposedly my child, and
I
she's so
did.
quick to skip town.
Because of the fact that, one, there was suspicion that he was cheating on me.
There's suspicion
Two,
she was cheating.
Exactly changed. These two seem to have been a happy couple up until a turning point. And just like Judge Lake, we want to know where it all went to shit, where it went wrong, and Mr. Broadnax started having doubts to the point where he doesn't want to be a part of the baby's life who he nurtured during pregnancy. Something's wrong somewhere.
I was 3 weeks pregnant when I found out I was pregnant. It was very early in my pregnancy. I found out, I was excited. The first person I called was Mr. Broadnax to share the news because I couldn't have been more happy that I was about to have my family. And then it came down to...
Did you hear her testimony?
Yes.
Is that true?
No, Your Honor.
From Miss Billingsley's perspective, Mr. Broadnax was letting excessively, and she couldn't deal with it any longer. That's fair. But from Mr. Broadnax's perspective, everything happened at a fast pace, but he still wanted to man up, which is a good thing. However, someone else being in the picture is what Mr. Broadnax cannot deal with.
When did you start doubting? Because if you're getting houses and cars and going to doctor's appointments, what changed everything?
I started doubting, Your Honor, when I was just chilling at the house, and then I heard her phone go off. So I picked up her phone and she was messaging her ex-boyfriend. I seen a message, hey, as far as it went.
Being bubbly in front of other dudes may not stick, but texting her ex, oh, that's the one that would stick like glue. Who misses their ex when they have their new man buying them a house? Yeah, that's debatable. But at the same time, who doesn't love a man like that?
As you can see, her window of conception was between early April, mid-April, to the 18th, I believe. And then that's my work schedule. I was out of town from the 6th to the 19th.
You were away for almost 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay, so when you started having doubt...
Ms. Billingsley says those dates are estimated, and it's true, but that can create an additional set of doubt in Mr. Broadnax's mind. And getting defensive about a DNA test is just another bullet in the leg for Ms. Billingsley, but she said she never objected to it.
Hey, he's done nothing.
He's done nothing. When he said he would do it, it was his mom paying.
So your testimony is he's done absolutely nothing for this child?
No, I have proof, Your Honor. I have submitted pictures to the court showing a few basic items that I have purchased for her.
Ms. Billingsley is in court with evidence, and she's ready to get that $5,000 from Mr. Broadnax. Mr. Broadnax says he's in a relationship, and that's why Ms. Billingsley is angry. Unfortunately, Ms. Billingsley aired their secret as she revealed their last sweet night together. Maybe it's time we get the DNA result to know whose pocket will be enriched and otherwise.
Mr. Broadnax, you are the father.
Okay, Your Honor, with that being said, I'm gonna step up to the plate and start taking care of my daughter.
She needs her father.
But I need time with her, not just money. You need to let her stay with me for time, not just send money.
Before we get to in this courtroom.
Mr. Webb and his girlfriend say there is 0 chances that Mr. Webb fathered Ms. Cole's 6-month-old child, Majestic. Mr. Webb is certain of this because he is sure he did not sleep with Ms. Cole. Ms. Cole says he is lying, and here is how.
All right, Ms. Cole, you and your mother say you're 100% certain that Mr. Webb is your child's biological father and say the only reason he's denying your baby is to save his relationship with the woman he's been with for the past 3 years. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Mr. Webb, how can you be so certain you are not this child's biological father?
I never had sex with her, Your Honor.
That is one defense we don't often see in paternity court, but Mr. Webb is sticking to his guns. He really believes that Ms. Cole is just making everything up. Given what we know about paternity court cases, how likely is this to be true? Let us hear what Ms. Cole has to say.
Dates line up, and I know he stayed with me for 2 months, and he slept in my bed with me for 1 night, and we had sex. April 11th.
That's when you believe you conceived your daughter?
Yeah.
Mr. Webb, this is strange. What was the nature of your relationship?
We never had sex or anything. We were just friends. We would chill out. That was it.
He ain't like that.
Your Honor, the worst that we've ever done is take a picture, and she was already in the bathroom. She had called me in there. When I walked in the bathroom, she said cheese and took a picture before I could even say anything. I didn't even want to take that picture.
Oh, Mr. Webb really has a lot to say here. He thinks that Ms. Cole is the craziest woman in the world and believes that she just wants to take advantage of him. But Ms. Cole's mother does not think that is true at all.
You know dang good and well that me and my husband took care of you the whole time you were there.
I didn't see you but one time the whole time I was there.
Yeah, you were in her.
All right, let's get some order.
You're right, so you need help just much.
Let's get some order. So, Ms. Cole, you said you and your husband were taking care of Mr. Webb?
Yes, and my grandkids and anybody else that needed.
Really? Everything? Why would Mr. Webb need so much supplies anyway? Was he homeless? Was he in some sort of situationship with Ms. Cole? Let's see what else is going to happen here.
So you're over there hanging out, partying, because you're friends with Ms. Cole.
He had multiple friends there when they had the party.
And what you're saying is you never ended up being intimate with her, like
No.
she's saying.
All right,
No.
where did you sleep?
On the couch, in the living room. Is there something wrong here?
Mr. Webb, how did you find out she was pregnant?
Can I show you?
Do you have a diagram?
Yes.
I'd like to see it. Please step forward.
This is how this went, the first message. She messaged me saying, hey, I got an ultrasound. I said, okay, can we leave it at that, Tasha? It's not my baby. I'm trying to do right in my life and move on. And this is not doing either of us any good. So just do me a favor and stay out of my life in the inbox.
Mr. Webb certainly sounded really clear there. He never, for one, entertained the idea that the baby could be his, and that sort of clarity is rare even in paternity court. Fathers, even when they are just a possibility, tend to accept that the baby might be theirs. But Mr. Webb isn't accepting this at all, and it continues.
Saying, by what the doctor is saying, the due date matched to when we blanked, that's all I'm going by. After this is where I'm like, she's literally crazy. Because now I understand what she's saying. At the first text, I'm thinking, okay, she's hinting towards it. Now she's full blown out, trying to say that we did stuff. So that's when I'm like, there's something wrong with her. Okay, this is the last one. This is how this ended.
Yeah, exactly. Is that a thing now? Babies don't look like anyone while they are still in the womb. That doesn't even make any sense. That is the first real sign we get that Ms. Cole doesn't even know what she is talking about. So what does Ms. Cole have to say about this?
He admitted to my cousin.
You are a liar.
He admitted to my cousin that he was the dad.
What do you think, Mr. Webb, is Miss Cole's motive if you say you've never slept with her? Why manufacture all of this?
I think she's obsessed with me. She's obsessed with me or something.
No.
I don't know what it is. I've been trying to figure out
There's
the
one
last
reason
year.
why I'm here. To know for sure he's the dad. Because I did have another partner. It was a month.
Okay, hold on a minute. This baby is just 6 months old. It is a little too premature to start saying she looks just like him or doesn't look just like him or something like that. That does not even make any sense. Let us learn about this other possibility.
For certain that the other guy was the dad until my due date got changed a month ahead, which would make him the dad. It went from February 22nd to January 28th.
But Mr. Webb says he never slept with you.
And he did.
But he did?
For sure, yeah. It was a lousy, 20 minutes. I'm so sorry, Your Honor.
Okay, there was 2 witnesses there that said that
Even her family members are denying her story. It is always a bad look when you get on paternity court and even your family members think you are lying. But let's really look at this. Is there any possibility that Mr. Webb could be lying because of his girlfriend?
Yeah.
I've thought of the possibility, and
me and her have had this conversation over and over. She knew I was over there partying. I didn't hide nothing from her. We talked that night on the phone over 4 or 5 times.
Well, you could talk on the phone with her 4 or 5 times a day and still end up in the bed with Miss Cole. I mean, that's doable.
Every time I party, I've never been the type to wake up and not remember what I've done the night before. I know myself. That's just how it is. Unless there's something I don't know, like her drugging me or something.
Without Miss Cole, without being too graphic.
Yup, that is right. Both women are arguing over the size of Mr. Webb's penis. Does it get any better than that? No. Anyway, it's time to see who is lying and who is telling the truth. And the only way to do that is through the paternity test.
Mr. Webb, you are not her father.
Yeah, you're crazy. You need to go to a mental hospital.
Miss Webb.
There, get her there, get her there.
Mr. Webb, Miss Reeves, stop.
But I want a lie detector.
Listen, we don't clown in this courtroom.
Ms. McKeever has no doubts in her mind that Mr. Arnold is the father of her baby. Mr. Arnold, on the other hand, says that Ms. McKeever admitted to sleeping with 2 other men, and one of them is the father. Here is how that drama starts out.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. McKeever, he says he's on support. What does he actually do for your son?
Well, actually, he has not done anything for my son. My sister has been playing a big role in my son's life, far as buying him diapers, if I need money to get my kids clothes.
But he's on child support. Are you doing anything for this child?
No, it's not my child, so why would I pay anything?
You feel confident it's not your child.
Right.
So you've chosen not to pay anything at all, even though...
Oh, Mr. Arnold is a wild one. You cannot simply choose not to pay child support if you are already required to. If you don't pay, the police will simply hound you down, strip you of your driver's license, and sometimes put you in jail. The point is, it isn't a choice, but Mr. Arnold doesn't care whatsoever. Here is how he explains himself.
It's not my child, so why should I pay anything? I got put on child support because of not showing up to a DNA test.
Oh, you were named... why didn't you show up to the DNA test,
I don't
young
have
man?
the transportation to get to this place.
But look where it ended up.
Really? Really, Mr. Arnold? You let lack of transportation stop you from showing up to a DNA test, which means that you might be on the hook for child support for 18 years, even if you turn out not to be the father. He allowed that because he didn't have transport? That is insane. What does his aunt have to say about this case?
There was another young man involved who was supposed to be these kids' dad.
Who is this
now,
young man?
After 2 years, now all of a sudden, my nephew is being blamed for these kids.
These is
not his children, because if they was, why would you name another man saying that they was the dad? But all of a sudden, you took it.
I'm asking a question. Who is this young man? Do you know?
I don't know him personally.
Who is this other young man, Ms. McKeever?
The other young man that I was with.
You told the other guy that this is his child.
Yes.
And you told Mr. Arnold.
Really? If she did all of that, why is she in paternity court today trying to prove that Mr. Arnold is the father? Why is the other man not here with her? This doesn't make any sense. Let's see if Ms. McKeever can clear this up.
Now 2 years later, look where we at. This don't make no sense.
So once she told you you were not the father, Mr. Arnold, what happened?
The fake DNA test showed up then. Him out for 2 years, blocked him off of Facebook, no contact. 2 years later, this girl pop up and tell him she need to talk to him. When she gets him and talk to him, she telling him that she did the DNA for the other guy, and he not the daddy. Christopher wanted a copy of the DNA test.
After 2 years, you finally did the DNA with the other guy? Explain.
Okay, so as my son got older, when he started turning 1 into 2.
Oh, now I see why Mr. Arnold is standing here. If Mr. Arnold and the other guy are the only 2 possibilities, then Mr. Arnold has to be the father here. If Ms. McKeever is telling the truth, there is around 0% chance he isn't the father. So does she have evidence of this DNA test?
0%. So what I did was...
Do you have any evidence of that test?
No, I don't have the evidence with me.
And she wouldn't let us get a copy, and she wouldn't let us take a picture of it so we could have some evidence.
These are Mr. Arnold's exact words. He said, I had a feeling that that's my child because every time I come around him, I have a connection. He always kept telling me that.
Yes, Your Honor. I didn't know it was another guy involved until after she came back and showed me the papers.
He's lying on that part. The time that we was in a relationship, he knew about the other guy. So it's not like I just got with Mr. Arnold.
Wow. This is crazy. So Mr. Arnold knew about all of this, but somehow wants us to believe that he isn't the father of this kid? If he felt that the kid wasn't his, why did he constantly say he had a connection with him? That makes no sense, right? Well, Ms. McKeever has more to say.
His family cannot sit here and tell him that this is not his child because y'all was not in the bedroom with us when we did what we did, and y'all was not living with me. Y'all wasn't calling him, asking him.
You can clearly see that there is no love lost between this two. But hold on, because Mr. Arnold has one last defense that he believes will stand in this court. Let us learn what that defense is.
I don't understand why I'm being put through this.
So, okay, so you say he doesn't look like you.
He don't.
So when he was 1 and she said he's starting to look like you and you said, yeah, I thought that was my son because we have a connection, did that happen?
Yes, Your Honor, but...
You did say that.
Right, but he don't...
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm not understanding.
Let Mr. Arnold finish the statement.
Okay.
He 3 now. He don't even look like me now.
It is kind of hard to believe Mr. Arnold now. Is he saying the kid does not look like him so that he can get off the hook for child support? Or is he saying it because he truly believes the kid does not look like him? Anyway, Ms. McKeever has her own theory, and it is insane.
First of all, you are 27 years old.
I mean, you can see
you are a grown man. Why every time you have a problem or we have anything going down, you gotta run to your family members?
That's what we
Why don't you
are.
step up and be a man and worry about your kids? Because at the end of the day, me and you are going to be taking care of those kids, not your family, not nobody else. That's how I look at it.
You don't know
so
what
therefore, I'm not just bringing him to try to plant a baby on him. Because like I said, when I met Mr. Arnold, he didn't have nowhere to stay.
And she has a point there. Mr. Arnold does not look like he has too much going on for him in his life, so it is unlikely that Ms. McKeever would want to pin her kid on him. Anyway, the only real way to know who is telling the truth is to check the DNA test results.
Mr. Arnold, you are his father.
That's what we wanted. That's what we here for. The DNA, the truth.
Your Honor, I will step up to the plate. I want to be around all my kids.
Ms. Hamm says she is tired of having a back and forth with Mr. Kisner over whether he is the father of her baby or not. She believes he is, and she wants him to be a present father. Kisner says that isn't possible because he isn't the father. Here is how it starts out.
Given everything up to be with Miss Hamm, but now you claim her promiscuous and foggy past have caused you to doubt that you fathered her son.
Yes, Your Honor. Trying my best, Your Honor. I do not have a steady job, that's right, but I am trying my best to be there for Zayden.
And you seem emotional right now. What are you feeling?
Well, Your Honor, I betrayed my family.
Wait, what? What does Mr. Kisner mean by that? He betrayed his family? This is paternity court, not a mob flick. So Mr. Kisner better be talking about something Judge Lake can handle. Let's see what he means by betrayed his family.
Well, I came back home and my family was telling me, don't go back there. No, you're here now. We got you back home. Don't do that. And I just decided to go back there.
Why is that a betrayal?
I just feel that's what my family thought.
They don't want you to go back because they don't believe that Zayden is your biological child.
Yes, Your Honor.
And there we have it. Underneath the surface of most paternity cases, there is usually some grave secret like that. The fact that Ms. Hamm slept with Mr. Kisner's friend is probably why he does not trust and thinks she is lying about fathering his babies. But hang on, it gets worse.
And his friend had broken up with my friend. He just wasn't there for me at the time. I felt like we were both partying and he wasn't talking as much.
So you weren't really getting along with Mr. Kisner that well? No. You felt like he wasn't stepping up to the plate as a boyfriend or doing what you need?
So
why
I broke
is it you chose to date?
I broke up with him and then...
Why his friend though?
I don't know.
It is crazy that most times when women who come on this court want to step out, they usually do it with someone close to their partner. Forget about the morals of it all. That is just reckless. So what did Mr. Kisner do?
Miss Hamm could show me change, and she did. She really stepped up as a mother and left all that life behind. So
she did?
She did.
So Miss Hamm, were you with anyone else?
No. Not besides his friend, and then that's it. I got taken advantage of.
It really looks like Mr. Kisner isn't here of his own will. There is just something in his voice that tells us he was forced here and just had to see this process through. He may not be a present father, but he definitely does not sound like someone who doubts the paternity of his kids. But back to Ms. Hamm. Does she even remember how many people she slept with during that period of her life?
Do you truly remember everything you've done?
Yes, I do.
You do?
I know what I did, and I told him exactly what happened the next day.
They are both in my home right now, and I believe that Mr. Kisner is insecure.
To be honest, she sounds correct. It is obvious that this relationship is cracked, but Mr. Kisner and Ms. Hamm look like young people who want to get it right, and this DNA test results is the first chance for them to do that. So how has Ms. Hamm been doing?
She has been an amazing mom, a completely different person. You know, we made that choice as a family to move out of state to get her away from friends, and that way that life could never come up again. She can start new. But they both have an opportunity here.
And that is the point of paternity court, isn't it? It is to give parents the chance to start afresh on the basis of truth and certainty. By getting this DNA test result, Mr. Kisner will understand exactly what he is in and if he is in it for the long haul. So what does Ms. Willen think?
I just don't. He's a great guy. He's great with Zayden. He's a great father. They just need that direction. They need that push. They need that oomph.
Mr. Kisner, is your doubt because your family doesn't think he's yours, or do you personally truly believe that this child is not yours?
Your Honor, I have so much doubt.
I don't believe that, because when I was around him in the beginning...
You kind of get the feeling that Ms. Willen is correct here. Mr. Kisner just does not sound that convincing when he says he has doubts that the kid belongs to him. It seems like he is speaking on behalf of his family. Here is more on that.
I doubt
that this child is his, and you have not given me one
without
reason.
A condom. So that's why I know. I know what I did and I know what I didn't do. We were having sex every day without a condom.
Your Honor, I agree. Thing is that she would take off on me and leave me without knowledge of where she would go, what would actually be going on. The stories would not match up.
So you feel like she would go places and not tell you where she is, and you thought she was cheating. So she's flirting. Well, you can't get pregnant like that.
No.
What else?
There's doubt right there.
Well, his doubt does not seem very concrete. Ms. Hamm insists she never cheated, and so does Ms. Willen. The only way to find out who is telling the truth is to see the DNA test results, and here is what those results say. And trust me, you are in for a nasty surprise.
Mr. Kisner, you are not the father. Was there any other man besides Mr. Kisner you were having unprotected sex with?
All I know is that time at the party. I remember at the end, and I freaked out and stopped, and then that's when he was trying to pick me up and my phone died.
Ms. Goddard believes that Mr. Harrison impregnated her just to trap her and has since refused to take care of the baby. Mr. Harrison thinks this is a complete lie, and he knows that he isn't the baby's father for sure.
All right, so Ms. Goddard, why do you believe that Mr. Harrison purposefully got you pregnant?
Your Honor, I know that he purposely got me pregnant because he told me himself, Your Honor.
Did you get her pregnant on purpose?
Well, that is a strong opening. How can you say that you impregnated this woman purposefully and then say that the baby isn't yours? How does that even work? Well, let us hear Mr. Harrison explain it.
We were in love, so I decided, I wanted to start a family. So I tried to start a family in which I assumed that this baby is mine or not. I don't know, to be honest. She cheated on me. Basically, she cheated on me with another guy. A couple of my friends walk up to me and they'd tell me that.
Okay, that makes a bit of sense. Mr. Harrison always wanted to start a family with Ms. Goddard, so when she got pregnant, it was great news to him. But then he learned that there was a possibility that the kid wasn't his because she'd been cheating on him the entire time. What does Ms. Goddard think of that?
To Mr. Harrison, that I had intercourse with another man as we were together, and he still proceeded through my pregnancy and the birth knowing that.
So you admitted that you had had sex with someone else?
Yes, I did.
And he stayed with you?
Yes, because he said he knew that was his child because he purposely did it.
Well, that may be true, but it isn't a gotcha, like Ms. Goddard thinks it is. You can purposefully try to get someone pregnant, but if they are sleeping with someone else at the same time, that kid may not be yours. Regardless of how purposefully you tried to get her pregnant, and it gets better. Because why not? Here is what Ms. Goddard's mom has to say.
Not only was she on her way to college, my daughter had an extremely hard teen life, and she got in a lot of trouble in school. She learned her lesson. She turned her life around. She then went on to school, got on the principal's list, had honors classes, went forward to go to school, got accepted into Hartford.
That may be true, but it is kind of odd to blame another partner for getting you pregnant when the intimate contact was consensual, right? Ms. Goddard could have gotten out of that relationship at any point, yet she didn't. And now she is blaming him because she could not go to Harvard? Really? Despite the fact that she was also cheating on him with another man? Is Ms. Goddard just not going to take responsibility for her own actions? And Judge Lake agrees.
About getting your education, you wouldn't have been engaging in those activities. Because women, young girls that live with purpose, conduct yourself in a certain type of way, and that includes protecting yourself. He could not take away any opportunity you had unless you failed to protect yourself.
He's a compulsive liar.
Your Honor.
He's a compulsive liar.
Oh, she is really mad that she has to be there for her daughter when the father of the baby is basically having a grand old time and doing absolutely nothing. So has Mr. Harrison done anything for this kid? Let's see.
I stayed the night.
And then left.
I stayed
and
tonight.
then came back.
Your Honor, I stayed there, Your Honor.
I had to threaten you to come back. I called you on the phone and said, get your punk behind back here to this hospital right
Your
now.
Honor, that's after she had
And he slept
Your
the
Honor,
whole
that's
time
after
period, Your
she had the baby, Your Honor.
And let's not talk about the birth certificate when you sign it. You'd rather go get high with your cousins and your friends than come there and sign the birth certificate.
Is that true, Mr.
Your Honor,
Harris?
I
Tell the truth.
overslept.
Tell the
I
truth that the Lord
overslept.
love you because you
I
know you're
overslept,
lying.
Your Honor.
overslept
I
for
overslept, Your Honor. and then
on the day that you were supposed to sign the birth certificate.
Yes, and I have my
Did you
son.
sign it?
You know, at some level, if you get pregnant for a man who oversleeps on the day he's supposed to sign the birth certificate for your kid, that is on you. You have no one else to blame but yourself for that. And it gets worse if you can believe it.
Nobody never came up to me. After that, they moved Anila to the incubator where she was, she was doing a little bad. They moved her there.
A little, he wouldn't know because he wasn't there, Your Honor. He wasn't there at all. I watched my baby go
That's
from
me right
a
there,
cold
Your Honor.
bed, and they had to throw her
That's
onto
me.
a warmer.
That's me, Your Honor. Right there. Why she has
Well,
me.
what happened afterwards? that you the first day.
I'm
What
trying
about
to still
after
see
that? It
if
does
this
not
is my
stop
baby.
there. It doesn't stop there. And it's not fair to her to be without her father because you're selfish.
Your Honor,
That's not fair to her.
Your Honor, when I was born, my
That's
father
not
passed
fair.
away when I was a baby.
Okay, come on guys, what are we doing here? So she knows that this dude does not take care of his own son, and then she agreed to carry his baby because she believed he was gonna do for her kid what he never did for his other kid? Is that the logic here? That just does not make any sense. Let us get back to these cheating allegations. What are the details here?
I told him myself. I admitted to him when I first found out I was pregnant. When I first told him, I didn't tell him the guy's name. He went through my phone another time, and that's how he found out the guy's name, Your Honor.
I never found out the guy's name, Your Honor. I just found the text messages.
You went through the phone?
I went through
Yes.
the phone and I seen that she was talking to another guy and they was talking about having sex and they was talking about being together with each other.
Was this during the window of conception?
Your Honor, yes, it was. One day, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, he clearly understands that right now. And Ms. Goddard also understands what it means to have a child by a potential deadbeat, because even if this kid turns out to be Mr. Harrison's, there is very little chance that he would suddenly become a responsible father. Oh well, let's see what the DNA test results have to tell us about this case.
Mr. Harrison, you are her father. Now you know.
Yep, and I will be taking care of her.
Mr. Harrison is suing Ms. Grant for paternity fraud. He claims he signed a Leah Harrison paternity document under false pretenses and he isn't her father. Ms. Grant, on the other hand, says she admits she lied about an affair, but insists that Mr. Harrison remains her kid's father. This is a tricky one, folks. Let's dive in.
Ms. Grant, you claim you may have lied about your ongoing affair, but you did not lie about Mr. Harrison being your daughter's biological father.
Absolutely, Your Honor. Yes, ma'am.
So, Mr. Harrison, explain, why are you suing for fraud?
Well, Your Honor, I signed my acknowledgement for paternity for my daughter, and I've done everything for her since the day she's been born. I've had several people come to me through Facebook and through text messaging on my phone saying that, Aaliyah is not your daughter. I don't care what.
Oh, that's quick. Who doesn't know that friends help you keep paternity secrets no matter what? But hang on tight, folks, because this case is about to get crazier than you can imagine.
On her, and started telling me things such as, but also said, this child does not look anything like you. You need to start doing a little bit of investigation.
Well, she's
on your
biracial, Your Honor. What is she supposed to look like? She looks like herself.
She doesn't look like she has anything.
Ms. Grant, you do admit you cheated, is that correct?
Yes, I had a relationship with a man that I had met when I was very young. I met him when I was 18 years old. He was a good friend to me.
Wait, what? Well, if she's had the affair for 15 years and you have only been with her for 8, then you are the one she's having the affair with, don't you think? That's how it works, isn't it? Anyway, let us get more juicy details here.
So after 8 years with her and a previous child before the one in question, we have already had a child together. So she has been cheating on me literally the entire 8-year span that we were together, including the time I just don't want to do it anymore.
I didn't want to have to keep lying to him, Your Honor. I got tired of, being dishonest and being disrespectful in my relationship. And I gave him every option to, decide what he wanted to do. And so I decided that instead of letting somebody else.
This is insane. Ms. Grant is trying to act like coming out about a 15-year-old affair in the 7th year of a new relationship is some sort of moral choice. Is that really what she wants us to believe? That is crazy. But back to how Mr. Harrison found out in the first place.
And I said, you know what? I can't do this anymore with you.
And so, Ms. Grant, who was this person?
This person was a friend of mine. I had met this person when I was 18 years old. I was a single parent of a 2-year-old daughter at the time. He helped me with her. He helped me financially. He has bought cars. He has paid rent. He has paid bills. Okay. When I met Mr. Harrison and I told my friend.
She is using the word friend here very liberally. This dude isn't just a friend. He's a friend with benefits, and a lot of benefits it seems like. But this would not be paternity court if this didn't get worse, right? So, yes, it got worse. Of course it did.
15 years, but 8 years while you were with Mr. Harrison. How did you pull this off?
Lies.
Non-stop, the entire time. Because I've asked her several times throughout this entire 8-year relationship if she's ever cheated. Absolutely not. I would never cheat on you.
Yes, but I didn't lie about the paternity. I lied about whether or not I was seeing somebody, but like I said, the person wasn't even in our area at the time.
So you're saying you were not sleeping with this person?
Not at that time, no.
During the time Aaliyah was conceived?
Mr. Harrison has a really strong point here. Miss Grant says that she isn't lying and the baby belongs to Mr. Harrison, but how is he even supposed to believe that? Would any man in his sane mind believe that? Probably not. And there are more lies here.
You see what I'm saying? That's a long time to supposedly not just be,
that's a long time, but that's why we're here now.
So your point is, how do I believe that when you already admit?
She told me when she admitted up to all this, she told me, yes, it's been going on the whole time.
But I also, when I came clean, I gave you the option whether or not you wanted to stay, whether or not you wanted to go ahead and call it quits for good, forever.
Yes, you're right.
Or if you wanted to go ahead and, lay it out all out.
Because I'm not a deadbeat and actually want to be around my children if they're mine. I'm not going to sit there. I'm not going to sit there. I told her time and time again, I said, I don't care.
Mr. Harrison doesn't want to leave the relationship, but he wants to know the truth. And he says he still loves Ms. Grant despite all the lies. He's a better man than most for that. But love cannot sustain a relationship. Only truth can. So let us get some truth out of Ms. Grant.
Grant, when were you last intimate with this other guy?
December.
In December?
Before Mr. Harrison and I decided to try and reconcile. We had been living apart for almost 10 months.
Almost 10 months.
And so this is just months ago, 2 months ago.
Let me say this. I had major ankle surgery in February of 2014. She decided that was the time she wanted to break up. And while I'm immobile, I can't even get up from the couch. After major ankle surgery, she was dolling up and darting out the door while I had to watch the kids on crutches. Couldn't even get off the couch.
And despite this, you still wanted to be with her?
Absolutely.
Absolutely? Okay, let's get this straight. This 15-year-old affair is still going on right now? She left Mr. Harrison and just continued the relationship like nothing happened. Can Mr. Harrison not see that he is the one she is having the affair with? And that the other guy is the main constant in her life? Guys, it gets worse.
That I was willing to bend over backwards and forgive her for all of her misdeeds. All of them.
What about all your misdeeds?
Every single one of them.
Don't sit there and act like you haven't cheated on me.
I'm not saying that.
He cheated on me with someone who is, he's an indie pro wrestler. He cheated on me with someone who they call ring rats. I did lie. I admit to lying about being.
So how am I to know?
With
how
somebody
am I to know?
Else here and there.
How am I
so do you also admit, Ms. Grant, to basically defrauding him, basically saying this is your child when you knew for certain that it was not his child? Did you do that?
No, ma'am. I knew 100% that she was his child because she was conceived during a blizzard.
What does snow on the ground have to do with a child's paternity?
Because the other person doesn't like the cold weather.
Phew. This a lot. So Mr. Harrison also cheated. Maybe, just maybe, that is the reason he is willing to put up with all of Ms. Grant's lies. Maybe it is because he knows he has lies of his own. Anyway, here is what the DNA test has to say about this case.
Mr. Harrison, you are her father.
I told you.
Greenhouse was set to be married to Mr. Thompson after being together for 11 years, but that wedding was called off because Mr. Thompson believes he isn't the father of her child. Mr. Thompson says he did this because Ms. Greenhouse cheated on him. Here is the full story.
You were going to marry him, and then now he's denying your son.
Yes,
Explain.
Oh, well, I was going to marry Gregory. We were dating for 11 years off and on. I have a 4-year-old son by Gregory, and I also have a 7-month-old by Gregory. I called off the wedding because he's insecure and he's disrespectful, and I don't want to marry someone like that.
After 11 years, you just figured that out?
No, it's like, no, we were together for 11 years off and on, but I had my 4-year-old son, right? I went off to college. Right after I had my 4-year-old son, I got pregnant. We tried to make it work there.
Phew, that is heavy. 11 years of dating someone you are not absolutely certain you would end up with. That is cold. 11 years is a lot, and to do that with someone you are not 100% sure of? Well, let's see what Mr. Thompson has to say.
8 of them, I was the one trying to keep this together when this always fell apart because
How? You're always accusing me of sleeping with somebody.
Her family and all the rest.
You're not in a relationship with my family. You're in a relationship with me.
That's what I was trying to figure out.
But why do they always come up?
So how do your mama, this one, and the other sister, how everybody think they got more authority over me and mom?
How? I separated from everybody.
Explain to me what's going on here. I'm not understanding. You're saying her family caused the rift as well?
When we made G, we wasn't even together. I was
How
going
come you
over
stayed
there
in my
back
house?
and forth.
So you're admitting now that
afterwards, when
Hold on, Mr. Thompson. So you're saying when you made G, meaning?
And that is what all paternity doubt cases come down to. Mr. Thompson believes that Ms. Greenhouse was cheating on him, and that is why he believes that this 7-month-old isn't his. But Ms. Greenhouse thinks this is just nonsense, and she tells it as it is.
Come at me like that. You asked me
it's
who
not a lot. What I do?
2 weeks
What
prior.
I do?
Then we had sex. I
My
had
bad,
sex with
Mom.
somebody else.
What I do? I went through
2
your
weeks
phone.
prior.
I went through your
2 weeks
Facebook.
prior.
It ain't no 2 weeks.
She testified 2 weeks before, and you're questioning that time frame? If so, how?
Like I said, around that time, we wasn't together. We was seeing each other a little cordially here and there, but not really.
But we
I guess it was maybe it was around, can't remember exactly the time it was around, but when I came and everything happened, even with leading up to that time, I'd already confronted her and she admitted out her own mouth.
Wow. Ms. Greenhouse clearly feels very strongly about these allegations, but we also know that people can seem to feel very strongly about paternity doubts and still be wrong. Let us hear more from Mr. Thompson.
And she used to say it then, you only with me, or you only try to keep this together because of SJ, which is my first boy. And
That's a lie. That's a lie.
Man, look at here. Like I said,
we was only together because of SJ.
This is what you told me multiple times.
You
don't really want to be with me, Greg. You only with me
Greg,
because of SJ.
I told you that.
And to a major extent, yes, because of my son, the all-American way, your mom and your original mama and daddy and raising your kids together. If it don't work, it don't work.
Because, Your Honor, I love Greg. I've been with Greg for 11 years. Greg was my first actual boyfriend. I planned on having a wedding with this man. I have 2 kids by this man. I planned on living my life with this man. When Greg talking about my family, when I was pregnant with my son, me and my family had an altercation and fell off. I didn't talk to my family for months at a time. When I moved out of my sister's house and moved into our own apartment, I didn't have no communication with my family. They shouldn't even be brought up in this.
These are the main ones who helped you draw your relationship to the ground.
What do they got to do with it? You keep living in the past.
Well, we are in the present, and in this present, Mr. Thompson thinks that Ms. Greenhouse cheated on him with other men, and one of those men is the father of the baby in question. Are we going to hear more about that? No. But we will hear more about Ms. Greenhouse and Ms. Thompson's mother going at it over $20.
If anything, when they fall on hard times, I help y'all with rent.
You have never called Greg and asked me for $20 into another day to hold you over.
Nope.
Never.
You know what? You know what, Christy?
Okay.
If I have, I've given him millions. I should have.
Okay, and what's the problem with me giving my family?
I should have.
What's the problem with me giving my family?
I'm not addressing your family. What I am telling you, and what I'm telling you while you frowning is,
when
it's all said and done, I help them as much as I can with rent. You know it, lights.
What I'm trying to understand is if she admits to you that while we were off, I slept with someone, and then you decide to get back together. You know this, right? This is not a surprise to you that she was with this other person, but you're saying that's what makes you have doubt.
Mr. Thompson keeps bringing this up, but he is bringing up nothing that has to do with actual evidence or details that may prove his case. He is just saying he knows she was sleeping with multiple other people. How does he know this? Who knows? But he has some theories.
Yeah, she know this. This is not the first time it came up when she contacted
Your Honor,
you.
he
This is
said
not
that
the first time. I said something in the hospital.
Mr. Thompson,
when we was living together.
did you help choose the name?
I did it. Yeah, I chose the name. I came up with
And
it.
you were at the hospital when G was born?
I've been with her the
It was
whole
just me
time
and
she was
him.
pregnant.
And you signed the birth certificate?
Yes.
I've been with her the whole time that she was
Before
pregnant.
we signed the birth
even
certificate,
before
I asked
my
him did he
first
want a
boy.
DNA test. He told me no.
You're saying you did, in fact, help choose the name.
I did the whole.
Ms. Greenhouse has suggested she asked you about a DNA test and you declined.
I said something about it, and she said they not gonna do that
That's
here.
a lie. That's
what
sounds
she told
stupid.
me.
They don't do DNA tests at a hospital.
And so,
Mr. Thompson keeps trying to come up with evidence that does not make him look like a total dunce, and he just can't. He just can't do it. I don't know if Ms. Greenhouse is just so much louder, but he just can't do it. Anyway, let's listen to some witnesses.
Chrissy and Greg rekindled their relationship.
you're saying you were there and you overheard something as it related to Mr. Thompson not wanting to have a DNA test?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you hear?
When it came up to them going to the hospital to have G, Chrissy was talking to Greg or whatever. She was like, hey, make sure, right before they brought in the paperwork, the affidavit stuff. She was like, are you sure you want to do that? We can get a DNA test.
And that is how you kill a case. If this case did not have a paternity test attached to it, this would probably be the end, and we would already have awarded Ms. Greenhouse damages. But Mr. Thompson has something to say about that.
When I got my 4-year-old son back not too long ago, he going out of nowhere, Your Honor, he tell me, but that ain't my daddy.
But you got a whole girlfriend, so what am I
that
doing
ain't
now?
my
Why do it
daddy. I
matter?
said, what you talking about? I said, who your mom boyfriend? He said, yeah.
What you mean is you felt like he was saying it's G's daddy,
Wherever
but
she
it's
been
not
having time
my
to have
daddy.
father figure. It might be G daddy, but you my daddy, is what he telling me.
This is one insane case, and we can finally put an end to it by seeing what the paternity test results have to say. Will Ms. Greenhouse be proven to be nothing but a liar? And will Mr. Thompson be proven correct? Let's see.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Thompson, you are the father. You are the father.
I feel more relief.
For what? And you knew this from jump.
I did.
You knew this from jump.
You knew I had doubts from jump.
Everyone's entitled to their beliefs or doubt, but my whole thing is like, don't doubt my son when I break up with you because you're disrespectful.
I told you this when we was together.
No, you did not.
I told you
you didn't start
he didn't
doubting
have my head. He wasn't my way. He was way my first son.
Mr. Hughes is stuck between two crazy moms in court today. One is his own mother and the other is his ex. Ms. McBirth, his mother, is sick and tired of her son having so many babies. For this reason, she's denying her potential grandchild and demands for a paternity test.
This woman is trouble. She is trouble with a capital T. She, as a matter of fact, I call her the 3 T's. Trash, trouble, and trifling. That's what she is. The little boy looks nothing like my son or any member of my family at all. Can I show it? Can I?
Absolutely, ma'am.
Oh, look at her go. She really brought a picture of father and baby to court saying that they look nothing alike. Back to the ex-girlfriend, she insists that Ms. McBirth is in denial and is projecting her feelings on the baby's paternity.
So why do you think she's in so much doubt over your child?
I have no idea, to be honest. Like, maybe because he is so white?
Because he all the white. He ain't got no black in here. Everything I see got powder puff on it. I don't see no chocolate nowhere.
That was a very racist thing to say, Ms. McBirth. Does this woman realize that genes work in the funniest ways? What a thing to say in the courtroom. Sure, she may be tired of her son having children willy-nilly, but that does not give her the right to be mean to her son's baby mama.
Okay, so a little over a year. Were you in a committed relationship?
I thought we was.
You did, okay. And was he the only person you were intimate with during that time?
Yes, ma'am.
Now she knows she lying. She lying.
Yes, ma'am.
This DNA right here has been in our life. She's never was a girlfriend.
Whoa, it seems like we have 3 crazy women in court today. Now, where did all of this even come from? Who is this woman and why is she all up in Ms. Jackson's business? If she says she believes was in a committed relationship with Mr. Hughes, then let the poor woman be.
A side chick.
And it's all she has done is she's been trying to put the baby on us.
Force it. Yeah, you have. Don't sit up and act like you haven't.
But the thing about her,
she's trying to push that baby on. That ain't mine. I didn't sleep with her. That child is not ours.
When you say she's trying to push the baby on you, what do you mean?
She wants me to acknowledge that child.
Now, Ms. Terrell and Ms. McBirth both claim that Ms. Jackson simply wants to throw the baby to their family. They believe that the baby sure as hell isn't theirs. Now, wait a minute. Isn't it suspicious that the supposed father of the baby has not said a word since we started this case? What a family of assertive women.
Tell me about the first time you met Elijah.
I seen him at the doctor's office where I was taking his real children to the doctor, and it was a newborn, and I walked past him, and I kind of glanced over there, and I seen this little white baby. I knew it wasn't mine, and I ain't had nothing else to say or do about it since then.
Whoa. Hold up, hold up. Look how this woman is ready to go head-to-head with Judge Lake. So many things are wrong with everything Ms. McBirth just said. First, his real children? She was taking her son's real children to the hospital? How many kids exactly does this man have? From how many women too? And what? Is he mute?
I'm sick of all these little hookers trying to say my son is the daddy. I'm sick of it. I get babies dropped off here, dropped off there. I'm sick of it.
But
it stopped today. Because that baby is not my son.
Here's the thing that she does.
It is.
Here's the
Sorry.
That's a lie.
Yes,
No,
it's
that's a lie. That's a lie.
First of all, she's a liar because you just had a wild sex party that got shut down by the police station last month.
There was a sex party? The police came? What about the baby? Where was the baby while all of this was going down? Also, can someone please tell Ms. McBirth that the babies she'll be picking up would definitely not stop today? Considering that her mute son already has about 1 million kids already.
Miss McBirth, I have to ask you, you're very tough on Miss Jack. Do you have anything to say about your son's behavior?
My son I know exactly what type of person he is. He just as trifling as she is. He's a handsome guy. He's my son. And I know what he do. But he still, no matter what he do, he's...
Of course, we cannot expect Judge Lake to sit still and take all of that from crazy moms. She's sitting up and asking the right questions. Her son has been in the court since the start of the case and he has not said a word. We have no idea whether he accepts the child or not. Now she's saying the sight of her son being loving to his baby makes her want to throw up.
Do you believe you are Elijah's father?
I just gave him the benefit of the doubt because I'm biracial. My father's white, you know.
My son's.
My father's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed dude, so.
How you know? He just gonna say that because, she's gonna freak him after this.
Yeah.
Accusing your brother of not having...
Oh my goodness, she married a white man? After all of that, she still has the guts to be so racist about her potential grandchild. Considering that his past is biracial, that provides more reason for the baby to look white. What an unreasonable woman Ms. McBirth is proving to be. After all of this bickering, we get to hear the results.
Mr. Hughes, you are Elijah's father.
That's a lie! I'm through. I know that's a damn lie. I'm sick.
For 14 years, Mr. Hoyer has been on a quest to find his father, only to learn that the man he believes to be his father has already passed away. However, Mrs. Porter and her mother, Mrs. Horn, insist that Mr. Hoyer has no connection to their family. These women are determined to prove it too.
Mr. Hoyer, after 14 years of being in foster care, you desperately searched for your father. Sadly, that search ended when you learned that your alleged father, Mr. James Horn, was tragically killed. Make matters worse, you claim his family rejected you, and so you're here today to prove to them that you are indeed his son.
He really spent 14 years in foster care with zero idea of who his father was. And to make matters worse, when he finally thinks he has found him, he finds out he passed away. Also, the family he believes he finally found wants absolutely nothing to do with him.
So, Mr. Hoyer, please share, what was it like growing up without a father?
Your Honor, it was like hell growing up without a father. I was taken away when I was 3 and 9. I was in foster care for 14 years, got adopted when I was 14. Never got to learn how to shave, never got to learn how to tie a tie. I don't know who my father is because my mom used to be a stripper.
Oh my goodness. So his mother was a stripper, and that's why it was so hard to find his father in the first place. Wow, what a messed up childhood he had. And to make matters worse, apparently, the new boyfriend knew who the father was. Whoa, okay.
So this is a photo of the man you were told is your father.
Yes, Your Honor.
When you look at this picture, do you see yourself?
I do in some ways. I see myself through the smile and through the forehead and the eyebrows.
Miss Porter, all of this time, these years before your brother passed, he never mentioned having a child.
Never.
They do look somewhat alike, but in this court, looks don't mean anything. Only matching DNA. And hold up, the alleged father on his deathbed mentioned he doesn't have any kids. Could this actually be true, or was he just hiding his child?
He went over and asked my alleged uncle about the name, James Horn, and he was like, yes, that's my brother. So my adopted brother came and got me, took me over to his neighbors, and that's how I met him.
What was that encounter like? What happened? Take me step by step.
When I approached the house, I walked into the door.
Whoa, what a case. So that's how he found out this man could possibly be his father? What a mess this all is. Some family members say he could be his kid. Others say there's no chance. All this guy wants to know is who the father is, nothing else.
It was a secret. I didn't even know I was really pregnant until I was 6 months. But like I have told my son, there is another man before this man.
So what you're saying is you were open and honest with your son that you had also been intimate with another man.
Wait a minute. Is Mrs. Gentry saying that she had sexual relations with another man during the time her son was conceived? That means two things. One, she cheated on the man she claims to have been in love with. Two, she's not certain Mr. Horn is her son's father.
When the first time we ever seen her was 2 weeks after the funeral. 2 weeks after my brother was put in the ground, this young lady came and knocked at my mother's door. I have your brother's child. I'm like, that's not my brother's child.
So Miss Porter and her family sent Miss Gentry away with her little boy 20 years ago? That sounds a bit brutal. What if he turns out to be their blood? That's 23 years down the drain just because he didn't look like them. Oh, Ms. Porter. Life doesn't work like that anymore, okay?
Do you feel that there's any possibility that he could be your grandchild?
It could be. I wish it was. I hope so.
You said you do hope photos. Now this first set of photos is Mr. Hoyer at 8 years old and a young picture of Mr. Horn. Do you see a resemblance?
Not really. Not in that one.
Now that Mrs. Porter admits that there's a resemblance between her late brother and Mr. Hoyer, you can tell that they really want him in their family. And maybe, just maybe, the late Mr. Horn lied to them about not having any kids.
That makes me believe that there's someone out there that will accept me. So hopefully I am James Horn's son, because I will actually have a place where I will be able to fit in. I don't like being unwanted fairy tale family.
We can see why he desperately wants the results to come out positive. It's been even more difficult for Mr. Hoyer to fit in because he is biracial. His mom did say she was from a racist family, so maybe she couldn't deal with being the mom of a biracial child.
He won't have
Why
to
not?
deal with
I
you
always be his
because he
mother.
will get what's coming to him.
Why not? I always be his mother.
You might always be the mother, but you're not a mama. A mama. How this woman did his child right here when he could have been at our household. He could have been with us.
That's right, Mrs. Porter. There's a huge difference between giving birth to a child and being that child's mother. And so far so good, Mrs. Gentry has failed terribly at the latter. Let's see what Mrs. Gentry has to say.
You hurting me. You hurting the whole entire family. He don't know nothing about no aunts and uncles,
You need to come up
no
and take it up with
grandparents.
him.
He don't know nothing.
Miss Horn, I have to ask you because as you can hear, this is a very passionate. Excuse me, ladies.
Act appropriately.
Let's
Sorry. Please forgive me.
Mrs. Gentry isn't even the least bit apologetic. It seems like she was forced to be in court today and she's not even trying to deny it. Minute after minute, we see how terrible a mother she is. But wait, there's more. The results are in, and we are about to get the biggest shock ever.
In the case of Hoyer v. Gentry, Porter, Horn, as it pertains to the likelihood of whether Mr. James Horn is your biological father, the DNA test results have determined that Mr. Horn is not likely your biological father.
Son, you shouldn't have done this.
No, you shouldn't have done this.
Ms. Reinhardt believes that Ms. Crow claims her late son, J.C. Turner, is her baby daddy just so she can get death benefits. However, Ms. Crow says her son Thomas is a result of the love she and J.C. shared while he was alive. Isn't that something?
Miss Crow, you have summoned the defendant to court to prove that her deceased son, J.C. Turner, fathered your 2-year-old son, Thomas. You want Thomas to know who father is, and you say that Ms. Reinhardt has done everything she can to sabotage your efforts. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
One super difficult thing is to get through a case where the alleged father is dead. Now, we don't get to hear his side of the story. Now all we've got is what his mom knows or what she thinks she knows.
It's more than just the money. I would like help with my son, yes, of course, but my son cannot grow up and meet his father. So he deserves that right to know who his father is and to know who his family is.
And to this point, he doesn't have any real knowledge of his father. You have not.
Take a look at that. It is nice of Ms. Crow to give father and son the opportunity to bond over the phone. But how about the rest of the story? How did JC's mom know nothing about this? Well, there is only one way to find out.
That picture,
I understand.
my son and I had a very tight relationship. And Jay would tell me everything when nobody else was around. I knew my son inside and out. And I just don't, as a mother, as a grandmother, having 4 babies of my own, my gut tells me this is not my grandson. I do not see my son in that.
Looks like it's going to be a tough one because Ms. Reinhardt isn't even on the fence about it. She is totally confident the baby is not her grandchild. But why? How could she possibly be so certain?
We had, became inseparable. We, developed, feelings, and it did happen all too fast. He did ask me to be his girlfriend, and we did have unprotected sex as well. So there's no doubt in my mind that Jay's father, I did not sleep with anybody else in that time when I was with him.
Although her relationship with JC was fast-paced, the progression was pretty normal. 2 people met, fell in love, slept together, and the woman got pregnant. Mrs. Crow's story is quite convincing.
Well, that's your own opinion. That's your own opinion.
The mental capacity of a 16-year-old.
And this and you know what? He had feelings.
He was schizophrenic.
He had feelings.
He was schizophrenic.
And I took care of him.
And my son,
I didn't leave him because of that.
Mom. And she could have told him she was pregnant. That's his.
Now this is hilarious for so many reasons. Ms. Reinhardt's little technique to identify her grandkids is just ridiculous. Besides, the pictures look identical, don't they? That baby looks like grandma to me. But again, we cannot be so sure.
He has a silly sense of humor like Jay. He likes to dance like Jay. And, just right there, you can see it. Like his hair, that is Jay. And, there are things about him that are a lot like me. But at the same time, you cannot deny that. That's his father.
Ms. Reinhardt says the baby doesn't look like her, and Ms. Crow's like, that's okay because the baby looks like his father. Even though both metrics don't matter in the long run, Ms. Crow currently has the upper hand.
I have a bowed left leg. My daughter has a bowed left leg. JC was pigeon-toed from birth. So JC lived being severely pigeon-toed all his life.
And you believe this baby does not have that characteristic, which furthers your doubt.
Here we go again with all the features. Can we please understand that all of this does not matter here? Any baby can look like any of their parents, grandparents, be lighter or darker too. We're at paternity court to check out the baby's genes, ma'am.
On Facebook of another man that
my
she was
boyfriend.
with.
That's not his father. He was Jamaican. Does he look half Jamaican? And I lost my father the same year my son lost his father. So there's no reason why I would be up here for no reason. I'm doing this for my son. My son has the right to know, and Jay has.
You can tell Ms. Reinhardt is trying so hard to look for proof that the baby's not JC's. Now, she brings up the issue of Ms. Crow's Jamaican boyfriend when the baby doesn't even look the least bit Jamaican.
I didn't even know when the baby was born because I wasn't contacted.
Jay knew.
Jay knew. He's supposedly the alleged father, not.
It don't have to be alleged because we're gonna find out today.
So listen.
You'll see for yourself.
Yes.
I can let my scab build back up.
Because it's all about you, right? It's about my son. It don't matter about you or me. It's about my son.
It is glaring how much these 2 women can't stand themselves. And it is sad because they're losing sight of what matters at the moment, the baby. Their arguments are both valid, but the baby's paternity is at stake.
And this is serious because JC is gone now.
Yeah,
he's no longer with us, but this baby, who's potentially his biological child, is here, 2 years old. Only seen his father one time, and the mother and the grandmother are.
The 2 women could keep going on and on and on, but there's no time for that. It's time to see what the results say. So Ms. Crow will know if she's getting those death benefits or not. It is time to resolve this case once and for all.
The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Reinhardt and Thomas Crow, 99.6% you are related. Ms. Reinhardt, you have never laid eyes on your grandchild. Ms.
Nothing but
Crow,
picture.
I have to ask you.
She had sex with his best friend and multiple men. At least this is what Mr. Gonzalez argues today in court. Ms. Salvo and Mr. Gonzalez were a match made in heaven, or so they thought. But today, these two cannot seem to agree on a single thing.
Your Honor, I can't stand him. He knows Amaya's his daughter, but he refuses to take care of him. I've never, ever had sex with any Hispanic man but him. I prefer black people. I don't like Hispanic men. I was intoxicated at the time.
Revelation from her very first retort in court. She does not like Hispanic men, I see. Oh, Ms. Salvo. Nobody asked about your sexual preference. If you're so particular about Hispanic men, explain the Hispanic baby in court right now. You were drunk, huh?
Now, Ms. Salvo, you claim that this testimony is false. It's incorrect.
Yes, Your Honor. The whole part 6 times. That's ridiculous. It wasn't even good, so why would I keep going?
So you had sex with Mr. Gonzalez one time?
Yes.
The sex was protected or not?
It wasn't.
What a woman. She is right, though. It takes just one time. Now, here's the question of who's lying between them. Is it Mr. Gonzalez with his 6-time count or Ms. Salvo with his 1-time hit? Regardless of what it is, someone is definitely going to have a mountain of regret.
Now, is that the only reason you excluded your ex-boyfriend?
Yes.
Is because you felt like Amaya looked Hispanic and not black?
She has too much of him. She looks way too much. The dimple, she has one dimple just like he does.
Well, would you look at that? Every single time, one person in court always feels entitled to the semblance card. If Ms. Salvo thinks her baby belongs to Mr. Gonzalez simply because she looks like him, she really has no valid point, especially after having sex with other men. Who's to say that her ex-boyfriend does not have Hispanic ancestry?
My doubt is, I took my best friend over there to her house. 5 days later, he's Hispanic, Puerto Rican. He tells me, he showed me naked pictures of Ashley like this.
Whoa, she did what? Now, why was Mr. Gonzalez's friend at her house? Mauricio, how do the pictures exist if Ms. Salvo never takes naked pictures like she said? These pictures are suggestive, and Mr. Gonzalez has nothing to gain from lying about them. Now, again, who is lying between these two?
I guess what you would call it fast. That was when 18 and under. Yeah, I was young and dumb. I was a kid. I did everything with whoever at that time. I conceived my daughter at 18.
Whoa. Let's get one thing straight first. She was pregnant with her baby when she was how old? The amount of teenage pregnancies on paternity court is absolutely alarming. Also, Ms. Salvo is admitting to being promiscuous. Now, all that is left is to figure out which of them is lying.
This Mexican guy, he keep looking mad at me like he want to fight me or something. I asked, Ashley, why that guy so mad at me? Why he looked like he want to fight me? Oh, because he wanted to be the baby daddy, but I told him, you're the baby daddy.
Was that your response to that question, Ms. Salvo?
Oh my goodness. What are these stories about different men coming up at various intervals? Why is a random man from her elementary school coming into her life right now? If truly it was elementary school, why then did he want a baby by you? Has he been saying that since elementary school, Ms. Salvo?
Mr. Gonzalez, it seemed as if you were hoping Amaya was your daughter.
I want Amaya to be my daughter.
You do?
Yeah, I don't want her. It's not her fault she's here in this world. She's an innocent little girl. The baby used to come to my house. She used to eat in my house. My mom used to get her stuff, everything.
Oh, what a woman. Bless her dear soul. She did all of that for the baby amidst the thick fog of doubt in the air that the baby may not be her son's. It really helps nobody when one person says one thing and the other person claims another story. Now that all of the fog is ever, we simply cannot wait to get the results.
And if she is your biological child,
I would like to have weekends.
You're going to step up to the plate?
Yes, ma'am.
And do what needs to be done to care for this beautiful little girl?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, Jerome, I'm ready for the result. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows.
What a guy. Now we get to find out whose story holds water. From Ms. Salvo denying all the cheating allegations to Mr. Gonzalez, claiming that his fiancé slept with 1 million men and some. Who made the mistake, and who is going to regret their silly decisions?
You are not the father.
Excuse me, Your Honor. Can I still come around and see Amaya and help her out if I can? Because for a year and 4 or 5 months, she's been my daughter and she's still gonna be my daughter. And I told her that before she came in the show. I got on my knees and I told her that no matter what.
Mr. Cooper and his mother believe Armani, his last child with his wife, isn't his. But His wife, Ms. Cooper, is confident he's Armani's father and is uncomfortable with how much her mother-in-law meddles in their marriage. Let us find out more details about this case.
I had an inclination that something was going on. I was actually working, and I got sent home early. There was a power outage. They sent us home. And as I'm pulling into the driveway, I see this black car, and this guy walks into the building we live in. Didn't think nothing of it.
Wow. So Mrs. Cooper brought another man into her marital home and lied that her husband didn't live there. That's one crazy thing to do. This man must have been there several times while Mr. Cooper was at work.
That at that time, what I did was I wanted Walter to feel all the pain that he had inflicted on me all them years. We've been off and on for 9 years. The first 4 years of our relationship, he cheated on me the whole time.
Your husband cheated on you and the best way you could handle it was to cheat too? His actions hurt her and the kids, and she thought the best way to correct that was to hurt him back? That is one absurd, messed up thing to do.
I know who the other guy is.
Okay.
When I actually had a chance to meet him, we would sit down, talk, we hang out.
You and the guy she cheated with?
Me and the guy that she cheated with. We would
Sit
sit
and
down.
talk and hang out?
We sat down.
I've never heard of such.
He didn't know at that time. No, I didn't know, but see, this is the thing. I didn't know.
Oh, you didn't know.
Whew. So, of all the men she could possibly cheat with, Mrs. Cooper chose the friend of her husband. Her husband's friend agreed to it too. That must have been a punch in his gut when he found out. And guess what? This case gets even more complicated.
My concern is this. When I look at Armani, I don't see me.
So, Miss Cooper, I see you're very emotional.
When I conceived, I was with Walter. We both went to the doctors and asked them for advice on conception day and everything.
Sir, when we look at Armani, we don't see you either. Fine, he has white blood in his ancestry and all, but this baby does not look like Mr. Cooper. We understand why he and his mother are not convinced. However, we must always remember that paternity is hardly ever about skin tone or resemblance, and it's more about the DNA.
At that time, you said, I'm going to be her father. Did you have a doubt at the time you signed the birth certificate? Did you have any doubt?
I've had a doubt since.
Just like everybody else that
But
first
he
seen
had ultimate
Ashley is
opportunities
confused-
to take
what
a test then. Why a year
Just
and a
1
half
second,
later?
Miss Cooper.
Aside from the subject of race, Mr. Cooper and his mom are disturbed by Ms. Cooper's infidelity. Armani coming out looking all white was only the cherry on top. It reinforced their belief that the pregnancy was for someone else.
These issues of what's going on with me because I'm feeling like I can't write a song anymore. I'm having problems in my own personal business life. I bring it to my wife. Okay. And I tell her this is what the situation is. We tend to, I brought it.
Wait a minute with that. Mr. Cooper met Mrs. Cooper when she was pregnant by another man? Whew, that means that he stepped up as the father of that child and married her. And since then, they raised the boy together, along with their other kids. And now, it seems like it's happening again?
Believe in my heart that that's his. That's his baby.
And as you look at her,
I see him
Mr.
in her.
Cooper?
If you look at her face, her eyes change colors just like his does.
Mrs. Cooper seems very confident, but what does the way that the baby sleeps have to do with anything? That piece of detail does not matter. Mr. Cooper's about to find out if he's been taking care of a child that isn't his for the second time.
As my son, you took on this responsibility. They respect your wife needs to respect you, and they all need to love their kids. And that's how I feel about it.
You know what? Ms. Moore, I appreciate that because you want to break this cycle.
Well, Grandma's right on point, and it's time to put an end to this debate. Is baby Armani a product of Mr. and Ms. Cooper's marriage, or is she a product of infidelity? Well, let's find out, shall we?
Mr. Cooper are not her father.
You know I still love you. This is something you all gonna have to work through. Listen to me, Ashley. Hold your head up. You have children that now you have to stand up and be a real mother. You have a little girl.
She says that Mr. Kidd and his mother are trying to steal her kid from her, and she is not having it. Mr. Kidd and his mother, on the other hand, are certain Nathaniel is theirs. Let us get to the bottom of this crazy case.
You say Ms. Rawlings is a manipulative user who convinced you that you were the father of her son, Nathaniel, then changed her mind when someone better came along. You and your mother say Ms. Rawlings' mind games have wreaked emotional havoc on your family.
This is about to be one interesting case. How do you tell a girl you cannot have kids only to come back all of a sudden and you're sure her child is yours? What a guy, really. What a guy.
How it happened was we met through a mutual friend, and I didn't know know anything about Mr. Kidd starting off. My mutual friend ended up leaving, and the situation that I was in, I didn't have anywhere to go. And that's how me and Mr. Kidd ended up having relations, because I was staying with him. But as, you know, everything progressed and everything started off.
Looks like one big love rectangle. Just how many people are involved in this story? Mr. Kidd, Ms. Rawlings, the mutual friend, the new lady. It's kind of hard to keep up. One thing we've gathered, though, is she was in a sexual relationship with Mr. Kidd and some other guy at the same time.
You were pregnant, and then somehow he assumed he was the father?
When I found out I was pregnant, Mr. Kidd told me himself that he has some type of rare form blood disease and that me and his child would die if I was pregnant by him.
Oh, he had a rare blood disease.
Well, well, well. The story's coming together now. Seems Mr. Kidd didn't really understand the disease, and because he's never gotten anyone pregnant, he thought Ms. Rawlings couldn't be pregnant for him. What a naive young man. But it doesn't end there.
We've never been in a relationship.
So it wasn't just a sexual relationship?
No, ma'am. We were just, she just needed somewhere to stay. So I was just looking out for her, and it just became a sexual encounter.
It was an encounter?
No.
More than one, but.
So that's what we call a sexual relationship.
At least Mr. Kidd, his mother, and Ms. Rawlings agree on one thing. Mr. Kidd and Ms. Rawlings were in a strictly sexual relationship. There were no feelings attached, no love, nothing. They were just in that situation because they were living together.
Here at the defendant podium, you say you know Mr. Kidd is not your child's biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a manipulation tactic.
It was, as long as you were giving her what she wanted and needed at the time, it was okay. I've never one time been told I wasn't the grandmother. She did not ever say.
Now here we go again. Baby Nathaniel can't possibly look like everybody. At this point, it seems everyone is seeing what they want to see. And it's quite funny because it isn't all about the child's physical appearance. It honestly feels like Ms.
I actually came to the hospital after I gave birth to Nathaniel, and they instantly, you seen it in his face and in Nathaniel's face, his face lit up. And even his brother was there and was like, yeah, man, that's your son.
The other guy?
Yes. No, because I didn't have my ID.
Rawlings is one lady who is easily persuaded. This person tells her her son looks like them and she agrees. Someone else says the same thing and she agrees. Make up your mind, sister.
She was going through a situation and got kicked out of where she lived because her choice of men are not just the greatest, I guess, in the world. He wasn't safe, she wasn't safe. She was trying to get her life together. She gave me the baby for a period of time.
How long?
I had him for a month and a couple days.
The more she speaks, the more we see how confused Ms. Rawlings is. It's one thing to tell a man he's not the father of your son, and it's another thing to take advantage of his family's kindness and availability. It's unfair to keep manipulating them that way.
It's a boy, you know what I'm saying? I'll be around, I'll help out, but I couldn't take care of him as if he was my child.
All right, I think I've heard enough. I'm ready for the results. Jerome?
Well, Judge, we've also had enough. Who is Nathaniel's dad? Mr. Kidd or the other guy somewhere? What do you think? This is one very complicated case, but the test results will hopefully resolve it once and for all.
Mr. Kidd, you are the father. You are the father.
Thank you.
And at least even the fact that he said that he would have stood up, that was what I was still going for, period. The fact that that is his son, I am happy because me and him, we don't have a hate type relationship.